Understanding money and the truth. There's only two kinds of people in the world, okay? There's people that are money conscious and people that are not. When we're talking about money prosperity, that's it. There is nobody else. Most people are raised in a programmable environment where they are money unconscious. They need money, right, to survive. But as far as what it is, how to get it, what it's used for, how to get more, how to keep from losing what you've got, they're completely unconscious about this. And here's the reason. Poverty does not need a system, but wealth does. Poverty is reckless, it's unorganized, right? So the natural state of just confusion and chaos in the social environment, in the city, in the town, in the home, in the mind, lends to poverty going away from you all the time. But here's something that's important. This is obvious. You're going to say, that's so damn obvious when I say it. But when you think about it, all of a sudden your mind will go, holy shit, I never really thought about it that way. Human beings are the only ones that interact with money. Think about that for a minute. Money is only important to people. It's not important to birds or the whale or the wildlife or the possum, or the rose or the dandelion or the molecule. There's nothing else that it's important to, just to people. Now let that really sink in for a moment. Why is that so significant? Because it's also the only place that you can get it is from people, right? So you've heard me say everybody on the planet has the same amount of money because your next dollar is in the hands of someone else. So I was thinking about that, and it's well, break that down even more. Well, people are the only ones that have it. Nobody else has it, right? Don't even think of institutions. Think of people, right? You say, well, the banks have it, the stock market has it. No, those are people. They're the only ones that have it. Now, when you think about that all the money that ever was, ever will be, is in the hands of only people. And there's only two kinds of people, money conscious people and money unconscious people. Either a person is living a life where there's more money going away from them than's actually coming in, and their mind is constantly wrapped in small things like they obsess over the price of gas or lettuce or whatever, because in the 24 hours that we have every day, whatever your mind is obsessing about is what you'll manifest. The billionaire has the same 24 hours you do. So what's the difference? What they think all day. If they are prosperity conscious, then 24 hours a day, they're only focused on what is prosperity in their life, what brings in prosperity, what they do with prosperity. But the average person's not like that. 24 hours a day, they're thinking about their problems. They're bitching and moaning about what the people who have power are doing, right or wrong. Doesn't matter. That's what they're focused on. They can't do anything about it because they don't have any money and they don't have any power. So their degrading thought process keeps going down into the most minuscule things that they feel like they can control somewhere. Well, I can go to a different gas station. I don't have to buy from Shell. I'll go 3 miles down the road and I'll buy from a BP or whatever. Ooh, wow, big deal. You big powerful person, you saved 3/4 of a cent. But that's what their mind is thinking about. Kid needs new shoes for the football game this weekend. Where are we going to find them on sale? Can somebody have a pair of hand-me-downs that they didn't use? Joe down the block, his kid broke his leg, couldn't use the shoes. Let's get the shoes from Joe's kid down the block. This is real. This is how it goes. I know because I lived that way for a long time. You don't systematize poverty. It just is. But what is it? When I say that, it's okay, David, you said that, but what is it? It just is. This is where the truth comes in. This is what's so very difficult for people. In Principia, it's a program that I've dreamed about most of my career because the basis of it is very simple. It's people that are only looking for the truth in life. That's it. They're only looking for the truth. Now that sounds simple, but it's so complicated, it's unbelievable. Most of the people live in an awareness that their mind is being completely programmed by nothing but untruths. From the way that they feel, to what they think about the world and how they feel, to what they're going to do, to where everything comes from, to how they're going to get what they're going to get, and they're afraid of everything. Because ultimately, at their heart center, they know they don't have any power. Not that they don't, they have the capability of it, but they don't know how to use it. It's very distant in their mind. And they're too afraid to do anything to learn how to do it because something in their presence might get away from them. What is it? It's the truth. Well, the truth about what? Well, the truth about everything. Well, what is the truth about everything? Well, that's what you're supposed to find out. It's not, I feel this way, so that's my truth. We hear a lot of that, right? Don't tell me how to feel. This is how I feel about it. This is my truth. Great. Great. Let's see how far that gets you with your truth, right? That's wonderful. Have your truth. Stand in your truth. Live in your truth. Vote in your truth. Do everything in your truth. Let's see how far. Let's see what happens with that. Here's what they don't know. That the things that they believe that they believe because it's their belief, but it's not their belief. It was somebody else's belief that was projected into their mind. It was given to them in messages, right? Over and over and over and over and over again. Everywhere that they go, the message. And then they develop a little bias. And once they have the bias, that's all they see is that message. As if it wasn't there before, it's always been there. But now that they have a bias, that's all they see is that bias. So here's the trick. They think that's the truth. I can see it everywhere I go. I can touch it. I can taste it. I can feel it. The people that I know around me, they all believe the same thing. That doesn't make it the truth. Here's something in business, right? Woman named Trish Winkler, and I've told this story before, but it's worth mentioning again. She opened my eyes to something that was a radical change for me. Trish is one of the most successful multi-level marketers in the world. She comes out on the stage, very humble background. Here was her marketing strategy, right? She would put 10 pennies in her left pocket every morning. And throughout the day, every time she had a conversation with somebody where she attempted to prospect them, she would move 1 penny from her left pocket to her right pocket. And she would not stop that day until all 10 pennies were moved over. Okay. In the early 90s, this is like drilled into my mind, $167,000 a month. She was making $167,000 a month in the early 90s. Anyway, she's on stage and I'm watching, and she says she's gonna uncover a truth that was very disturbing in the audience. Like the energy, I've never seen energy change so wonky. And I've been speaking for 30 years. I've never seen an energy change what she did in this room, 20,000 people. When you as an individual are watching somebody else, you have a perception of what you think is important to them based on what's important to you. We call that projection. I'm projecting myself onto everything. It gets very disturbing when I find out that my internal projection of what I think you are is not actually the truth. So Trish walks out and she starts talking about why people fail in MLM. She said, here's the thing. She said, MLM is a very interesting animal as far as a business goes. You have the product or the service that the company is based on, which many people fall in love with, right? So she says something like, how many people love our company's products? And everybody's cheering, yay! The whole crowd's going crazy. And then she says, and then there's the dream. MLM gives the average person a real dream that they can buy into and they think that they can follow from wherever they are. That's the genius about it. How many people in the audience love the dream? And everybody's going, yay, love the dream. She said, and then there's the business, where the business is where it allows you to make these giant monthly incomes. How many of you love the business? And it was yay, but not as big of a yay. And she said, that's the problem. She said, the problem is that basically we've got two things here. You have the product and the love of the product and the using of the product, and you have the business. If you don't love the business as much as you love the product and the dream, you will never be successful in MLM. And you could have heard a pin drop in that auditorium when she said that. I mean, people were like gasping for air because the people that knew that they would never love the business, they lost all hope in that moment. They wanted to hang on to a dream that was based in something that was never true to begin with, but they believed to be true. And that is, if I love my product and I have a dream, I will succeed. But they didn't love the business. I had never heard this before. And I was like, that's it. That's the truth. That's this little thing that I've been missing within the structure of how this works. Now, I liked the business, but I wasn't in love with multi-level marketing. And I knew it, but I didn't know why. And the reason why was because I didn't love the business model. It wasn't that I didn't love business. I didn't love the business model. When she brought that to my awareness, I had a come to Jesus moment, right? Like, there it is. That's the problem right there. I don't love this business model. Now, that doesn't mean I knew what to do with it. I had no idea what to do with that. But she shined light on something that was the truth for me. But then, as the weekend went on, I watched something very mysterious happen that I didn't know how to explain at the time. And that was the people that had the same awakening for a brief second that I did went back into their delusion, right back into their delusion, that the product in the dream would give them what it was that they wanted. And they would literally lie and say that they loved the business. So once I started speaking professionally, I saw this in a very different way. I would go speak at various different conventions, right? There was an interesting phenomenon that I noticed in the MLM days, and that was if you're walking through the hallways or you're in a meeting or a breakout session or whatever, everybody's talking about the product. Chiropractors are always talking about the new pop and crack and stretch, and dentists are talking about the new brace and this and that. Wherever you're going, whatever it is, they're always talking about the new thing. And there's a very teeny tiny group, if you can even find them, that's actually talking about how to bring another dollar into the store. They're talking about the business. They're not. Most of them are talking about the thing. And then the second person that I ever heard address this that way was Dan Kennedy. And I thought to myself, this is really why this money conscious thing. So you're talking about people that are in business now, but they're not doing well because they don't love the business. Now, there may be reasons for that, right? Don't just take that as a rubber stamp. If I don't love the business, I don't love it. A lot of people don't love it because they don't understand it. When you're stuck in poverty thinking, and middle class thinking is poverty thinking, working class is poverty thinking. When you're stuck in that's the way the world goes around for me, there's a great value conflict there, not because it exists naturally, but because it exists inside you. You have the value conflict. You don't know how to resolve the things that you've heard in life about money, about business, about successful people, all the negative things that you've learned, in order to drop them so you can come in and actually love the business. It's as if there's a little voice in your head that says, be careful, you're not supposed to love this. There's something wrong with you if you love this. There's something wrong with you if you make too much money. You're one of those. And that's what's going on in the back of their mind. But this is with a lot of different things. I'm just talking about business here today. This is in relationships. This is in a person's health. This is it's in business. It's in government. It's in friendships, team members. Like, there's no place that this doesn't exist. Finding the truth in anything means we're willing to lay down our bias and ask the question, what is the truth about this? And be willing to hear the answer. Most people are not willing to hear the answer, and most people never will be willing to hear the answer. They want the romanticized version of life. They want the Disney story of life. That's what they want. But those people will always be the people that everybody takes everything away from them, because wealth has a strategy. And the strategy is, how do I move money from your hand to my hand? Now, that doesn't make it evil at all, right? But that's what a lot of people will think. They're not taking it, they're trading it. But here's the problem. Poverty people only have one side of the evaluation, and that is the value of what they need. They don't have the other side, which is the value of what they give to the world. They don't have that. Their value has been diminished to an hourly skill set in which they're paid a few pennies for in their life. So they never find out their core value and how to exemplify that and bring it to the world and learn a system that will allow money to flow into their life just as abundantly as it does to anybody else who's rich. And it all comes down, like if we're going to move all of this out of the way and say, what is the core? They don't want to know the truth. You think about the thoughts that you think when I say things like everybody on the planet has the same amount of money. How many of you have another voice that's going bullshit? What about this? What about that? You're trying to find a reason why that's not true. Whenever you see me say something and your mind is trying to find a reason why it's not true, I'm not saying you are, as in your consciousness, but voices in your head are trying to tell you why that's not true. If you start to go down the road of those voices, you're not looking for the truth. Your position should be, yep, I hear the voices. I want to know what the truth is. That needs to be the number one thing in your life, to know the truth. That's why the saying, know the truth and the truth will set you free, because it will set you free. But in the beginning, when you first start to hear it, it's the most terrifying thing you've ever experienced. You have been programmed to romanticize life in the world, and you're living within that bubble that's all made up stories. And then when you find out you're the one that's making them up, the most terrifying piece of this is confronting, who am I without these stories? Because you don't know. And that is something that everybody has to walk through to get to the other side. It's the Israelites out in the desert for 40 years. I don't know who we are without this. They're lost. But the only way to get it is for you to do the walk. See, that's the thing. Nobody can walk the walk for you. You got to do the walk. You've got to fight the demons and the internal terror ideas yourself. That's why something like what we're doing here is so very important, because it's a beacon of light, right? Proctor used to call it, people that do this in this industry, the torch bearers. We carry the torch until we can't run anymore, and then we hand it off to the folks, right? And Bob handed it off to me and many other people. Earl Nightingale handed it off to him. I'm handing it off to you. In all of history, there have been the torch bearers, the people that know the truth, that have that light. But in history, when you study it, there was always the mob that wanted to kill the people with the light. Even today, there's the mob that want to kill the people with the light. But those people with the light know why they're here, and they keep running anyway. You have to turn that light on inside yourself to keep running with it. So this changes the value of what you're doing. It's not, I'm just trying to make a few bucks. I'm just trying to get to a place where I can have the Lamborghini. It's, I want to be a beacon of light in the realm of what I do, why I'm actually here. But you have to know the truth. Don't run from the truth. Embrace the truth. So when you look at it, it looks like a very, very dark hallway that you have to walk down. You don't know is there a floor? Is there a ceiling? Are there doors on the side? It's a long hallway. It's dark, pitch black. The light is in your heart. It's saying, go this way. Have the faith to follow that internal desire into the truth. And you get to the place where it illuminates. Once it's inside you, it illuminates. And then the lies don't have a hold on you anymore. No more lies. You understand what the lies are. All right, that's it for today. Love you guys. Have an amazing day. Bye for now.